Whenever you meet someone, first question we ask is, what do you do? What do you do later? I think we inquire, what do you do? Same way we have this doubt. What does God do? The moment you are introduced to God, first thing we ask is, what does God do? What is his job? That's what he's explaining. What is the job of God? What all he does? It is, I create, I sustain. It is all. So what is God? One of the definitions of God is the creator, maintainer, sustainer, and destroyer. He does all that, it says. Why do all that? We ask this question always. And then we ask this question, why did God create the world? Next question. Standard. Yes, why did God create the world? So the Guru asked, why do you ask this question? Chuma. God also created the world. Chuma. Why did he create the world? What does he do? These are all standard questions. Yes, these are all standard ones we keep asking. Here, a sincere student also wonders as to know what is this? So, to which he is explaining, I am the cause, I am the substratum. Then he gives this idea, Kauteya. Verse 6, he said, I am the supporter. Sthani. I am the substratum on which the world is existing. Now in verse 7, he is talking about dissolution, maintenance in 6. Creation, maintenance. In 7, he is explaining what is the dissolution. Kauteya. At the end of a kalpa, all beings enter my prakriti. At the beginning of a kalpa, I bring them forth again. So they dissolve and recreate. So I do that. If you would have followed what we have been discussing in the last class, unfortunately we have 1 week gap. So you would have forgotten. Right. Eloquently, we were giving examples of clay, pot, all that. Okay. If you are taking clay pot example, what he is giving here differs. There is a problem here. When you destroy the pot, it gets back to what? It should become clay only. Isn't it? What he should have said, at the end of Kalpa, all beings should enter me. Isn't it? That's not what he says. Suddenly he is introducing one more factor. Yes. I sustain, I create, but when it dissolves, it doesn't dissolve into me. The end of Kalpa, it gets back into Prakriti. Of course, Prakriti is also mine only. But it doesn't come to me. Clear distinction he is creating. See, the end of Kalpa. Kalpa we have seen. Kalpa means a long period of time. You take whatever. They have very and inconceivable times, span is what they give. One kalpa means 1,000 Mahayugas. One Mahayuga means all the 4 yugas put together is one Mahayuga. There's Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. The 4 yugas put together, which is 43 lakhs years. 43 lakhs of years, my God. 4.32, 4.32 to be precise. 20,000 years now we can absorb. 43 lakhs like 20,000 is what nothing. So to be precise, they say 4.32, 43 lakh 20,000 years. Wow. That is one Mahayuga. Like that, 1,000 Mahayugas has to pass. And when 1,000 Mahayugas happens, then what you have to do? Multiply by 1,000. I don't know what the number comes. We are at a point we don't know how to count also. But we joined academy. Kaushelyamma called me once. She said, "Hey, become an." I said, "Yes, come for accounts." I told her, certificate I have. Even certificate I was not having actually. I said, I passed BCom. Even now I don't have the certificate. BCom pass certificate I don't have. So professional certificate they give, only that time I have any, but now. I said, don't call me. I said, no. South Indian Brahmin must. Wow. I went. And she had some petty cash. She gave some petty cash to me and said, count. I started counting. I was counting very fast. She said, see, I told you. I counted and gave her. I said, this many number is there. He said, Illiye. Count again. Again I counted. Now we got a different number. Say, come on, is okay? He said, no, because that is not the number she had counted and kept. I will not tell you how much now. You will calculate immediately. Again she gave. 3 times she gave. Karma time over. I said, Amma, lunch time. Okay. I'll go for lunch. It's the last time she called me. After that, she never called me. Counting. We are at a point, zeros you add. You don't understand. Like that is this. Understand. Whatever the time is. Somewhere down the line, what he says, during that kalpa, all the beings will get dissolved and they get back. Now, instead of saying the whole thing gets back, like all the parts gets destroyed, all the parts will become clay again. Here, he is not saying that. Instead of saying they all become that, he says, at the end of kalpa, time cycle, all beings enter my prakriti, my nature. So he is distinguishing between me and my prakriti. And then he says at the beginning of the next cycle, next kalpa, understood that is. I bring them forth again. From where? From my prakriti only. So beings gets created from prakriti, gets back to prakriti. And prakriti is mine. The prakriti is mine. So therefore, he says this one. Why this idea comes into picture? That's the first question we need to understand. Instead of saying this, why? But when the world gets created, who supports the whole thing? The created world. The created world here means manifested. Remember, in Vedanta, creation is not like what we understand as creation. Okay. Creation is not like literally like pot making. You actually make a pot. It's not like that. It is just a manifestation. It just expresses. So it is referred as Vyakta, and unmanifest is Avyakta. Manifested and unmanifested. Remember this. This Avyakta is the cause, Vyakta is the effect. Unmanifested is the cause, manifested is the effect. And all that is happening under me. I support the whole thing. So for every statement, what we do is we keep giving different examples. Remember, why? It is because we cannot find a single example fitting in with all that aspects. It is not possible. So here what we do is we give the example how it is sustaining. It is exactly like seed produces a tree. So the tree is because of the seed only. And the tree gets back to seed, produces seed, tree, seed, tree, seed, tree. That goes on and on and on. All that cycle of tree, seed, tree, seed, tree, seed is possible because of the earth, soil, isn't it? So here is the soil, one angle. But don't take it as complete one, please. This is what the problem is. The moment we give example, people start taking that example and start analyzing the whole thing. And you will find that with every debate, any debates you go, any discussions that you would see, a person will give one example, one case. You know, it is like that. When he says, immediately the person will forget this and go to that case and start the whole sort of the discussion there. Then to answer that, this fellow will give another example, another case. When he's giving another case, again what happens? You go. After the fourth step, if you see, they will be discussing something which has got nothing to do with what they have started. And it's done by not by dumb people. I'm not talking about illiterates. So-called intellectuals, revered as one of the brilliant brains, scholars, experts in that field. Remember this. It says any example has a limitation. That example conveys only a particular facet, or one or more, one or two. If you take it beyond that, it breaks. It will get into absurdity. Like the best example he gives is this. I can never forget it. Chhatrapati Shivaji fought with Mughals like a tiger. Immediately you ask what? How can you compare Shivaji with tiger? You mean to say Shivaji had tail? Now what to do? Now the whole discussion goes into whether Shivaji had tail or not, whether he had stripes on the back or not. That's not the point. It is only what? The ferocity. The way the tiger attacked. They wait, they hide, and then pounce. Lions don't do like that. Lioness will do. Lions, straight you will go. Will not wait. There's no calculations. That is why lions most of the time they fail. That's why they don't go for hunting. No, the lioness only go for hunting. After the lioness hunt and keep, this fellow will come. That's why they call it lion share. Royally he'll come, he will eat. Of course, they also eat along with him. He will eat full portion and go to sleep. Hardly they go. They're not fit. That's what it means. The guy, doesn't understand the dynamics of hunting, but tigers are not like that. That's how they compare him to. The first one to adopt the style of gorilla attack, hide and attack. He's the first one to adopt that style here in India. Or maybe in the world also, I don't know. Gorilla attack. So one example. One example is given means it sticks only to that one point. Similarly, the tree is the vyakta, manifested. So the manifested tree perishes and gets back. What happens here? Seed. And then that seed manifests as the tree. So seed, tree, seed, tree, seed, tree, all that is happening in the presence of earth, soil. If the soil is not accommodating, nothing can happen. That much you understand and leave it at that. Then we go to the next idea. When you go to the next idea, you can't continue with the same example. You have to go to a different example. That is why they have one classical example which will accommodate almost everything, is the rope and snake. Very difficult for you to stretch that. Not easy to stretch, but it accommodates. All these ideas will get accommodated in it. Is this world dissolves into Prakriti, and that Prakriti is mine. That's why he says it is my Prakriti. But they don't come to me. Because our fellows will immediately say, anyway, in Kalpa, we'll get back to Brahman. No. So why attend Vedanta class? See that? Problem solved. All that I have to do is what? Wait. Like many of us, they say, no, wait, sir. Next government is coming. Election is coming. That time, don't worry. All your loans will be whatever they do. Right? Wait, why are you repaying? The fellow who is going to repay the loan, the fellow standing next to you says, are you pagal? Wait. How much loan do you have? 10,000 rupees. You see that fellow there? 10,000 crores. Be like him. You take loan, don't take loan for 10,000 rupees. Take a loan to such an extent where the bank will get scared of you. They should pray, please, let this man be alive. You should take. Why? Otherwise, our fellows will say what? Anyway, at the time of dissolution, Kalpa, end of Kalpa, what will happen to me? I will merge with Brahman. Because that possible misunderstanding is there with the example of pot, clay, plot, clay. See that? So he says, don't think that I am going to give that opportunity to you. That opportunity is not there. Your Suresh Rao will be very happy. So anyway, Kalpa over means We can enjoy world also. We can enjoy samsara also. Also, we will get realization at the end of Kalpa. Krishna only said no. Because we all think, dissolve into me, dissolve into me. I am the one who is a creator, maintainer, dissolve. It happens. Constantly when it is said, that one possible misunderstanding is there. So to correct that possible misunderstanding is bringing this idea of my Prakriti, my nature. Then comes the analysis of what is the meaning of Prakriti. See, Prakriti is another word he is using to refer to avidya, vasana, maya, all that. For all those things, it just as synonymous terms, it's all mean the same thing. But of course, in every context, we use that particular word. See, so here he says it is the material cause. For any creation, you need two things. One is the efficient cause, another one is the material cause. The material for the world is coming from Prakriti. The stuff is from this. Like to make a pot, you need a pot maker who is different from clay. They are not the same. That's what it means. One is efficient one, that's the pot maker. Then you have this clay, which is the stuff. Upadi. Upadana karana. So the Upadana karana for the creation of the world is matter, Prakriti. And that is under me only, he says. That is also under me. Otherwise, we will think what? Prakriti is parallel to Brahman. Then it will become two things. There is no two. See, there is only one. That is my nature, my Prakriti. That is why he qualifies that as my Prakriti. So he says, all this world, Sarva Bhutani, is all beings. All beings means three. All the manifested world, all that you see in the world, the whole thing is a manifestation, expression of what? Of Prakriti, Maya. Nature, he says. This Prakriti is mine. Why? Because Prakriti has no independent existence. It has a dependent existence only. It cannot exist independently. Independent existence, if something has, that is called Swatantra. See, it is existing, but it is dependent, not independent. Dependent on what? Dependent on Brahman, dependent on me. Therefore, anything that has the nature of dependent existence, it is referred as Vidya or Maya. Maya, Nitya, all synonymous terms. Take it. Very specific terminologies they have to use. Specific word to be used is that Nitya basically. But the power is referred to as Prakriti, which is referring in the context as Maya, which is of the nature of Nitya. Why? Because it has a dependent existence. It cannot exist independently. What is dependent existence? Can it exist independent of you? a reflection in the mirror, does it have an independent existence? Will you say, there is a mirror next to me, there is a reflection of mine, bring 2 coffee? You may order. Right? There are people who go there and order, buy 2. Only one fellow is there. I learned the technique here. The Artha copy is here. You go there and order, buy 2. Only one fellow is there. Keep drinking. But either way, you can order, but both goes only to one. You will never attempt to share the mirror, no. Have you ever tried? I've never tried. You share why? There or here? Why? Because the reflection has no, it exists. You can't say it is not there. It is there. But still, you can't call it as independent. It is purely dependent. Dependent on what? That we don't have to worry about. It is dependent, full stop. See that? That's what is explained. My Prakriti. Because Prakriti is not having its own independence, existence. It is dependent on Brahman for it to exist. But from the person who is, remember, the whole discussion we are having, the context you should never forget. The context of all this discussion is with whom? The person who is in the world, right? Who after creation, you see that? To the boy who's seeing the snake, the whole discussion is only when the boy says there is a snake. Okay, after that, all this is. Suppose if you are not seeing the snake, then what? Imagine you have not seen the snake, you have not seen the rope also. What discussion you can have with him? Right. If you had seen the rope, what discussion you can have with him? There's no discussion with him. Remember, the scriptural discussion happens only after you see the snake and you are scared of the snake. Are you scared of the world? Scared of few things in the world. Neighbor, boss, at home or out. Something is there. That's about it. N block, you are not scared. See that? So the discussion cannot be. Now the person who is not seeing the snake, if he takes and if he starts studying, how he will study? Wasting the time, I tell you. I don't know why they are worried about rope, snake, rope. Other fellows. Same way, the person who is a snake charmer, let's say, he has no problem, he has no fear of snake. There's one fellow who grows snakes, and his entertainment is every day he brings one snake and allows the snakes to bite him. Seriously. And he has donated blood, saved many people. He says his blood develops the capacity, the immune capacity of this blood. Don't try, please. What is that? Disclaimer. No? Disclaimer. I am not recommending it. I am only telling what the fellow has done. Imagine if he reads about rope, snake, the boy is scared of, he says, what is there to get scared about snake? If you know about snakes, over 90% of the snakes they say are non-poisonous. Nothing they'll do. We see in our apartments. So this is the size. They take a photo, they take a picture and post. I have to search. Where is it? The snake is not there at all actually. Such a tiny one. What poison it is going to have in it? If it's, what's your size, what's that size? It's not that, the moment bitten by a snake means you will die. It's extreme cases only. Very rare. And those snakes won't come here. They live in their own place. If you go to that place and then bite, then it's your mistake. Like, imagine the fellow who has the knowledge of snake. He says, that's why one fellow asked this question. Sir, if I misunderstand the rope as a snake, okay. Suppose if I mistake a snake for a rope, that's more complex, no? That's what will happen. In the name of analysis, in the name of thinking, what you do is only this. See, that is why we go to these masters and request them to explain that to us and say, I don't understand, please explain. Then who should be doing that, sir? You should know the reference. The context is this. The context is the student who is seeing the world, who is in the samsara, and he understands, he goes through the pain of samsara, and he says, I want to get out of it. I want to get out of this samsaric problems. Now give me the solutions. There, Krishna is analyzing what is the source of that samsara. Don't say the source is God. Because if you say God created the world, you are superimposing motive to it. See that? So he says, I am not having any intention of this. So creation is not happening according to the whims and fancies of God. He did not decide, okay, you go to that house, you take birth there, okay? Hey, this fellow, he is being very bad with me. Put him there. Sometimes I wonder, why the child has to be born, take birth in Syria. That is taking birth, there's a bombing there happening. And you see those kids, they don't care. There are videos we have. You see them, they hear that bomb, bombs dropping. They don't react at all to it. Can you believe it's like Diwali crackers? And imagine what is the child has done. One is born that with failure is starvation. Another one, they say, born with silver spoon. One born with silver spoon. Here. Now, imagine God is the creator, if you say, then obviously it means God must be having an intention. There has to be a will. There has to be a thought in the side of God, in God. Inside him, there must have be an intention. Why he is putting it here? That's why he says, if you say God has created the world, he has made a mess of it. It's not the way to create. He doesn't know how to create. One block, solve the whole thing, man. Doesn't happen like that. Then from where the whole thing comes, it comes from Prakriti. So it gets back to Prakriti. So when it is going into Prakriti, it is coming out of Prakriti. So the whole thing needs to be accounted in the bracket of Prakriti. Then you will ask this question. So then there are two things now. There is God, there is me, Brahman, and Prakriti or Maya. You mean to say there are two things? That's where he says, my Prakriti. When he says my Prakriti, don't take it as his nature. No, it's not to be treated like that. He says, it is mine in the sense, my reflection. They say, no. When I say it is my reflection, is it does it have an independent existence? No. So the reflection is not me. Reflection is different from me. From one angle, from another angle, that reflection is me only. Whose reflection is that? My reflection only. So when you say my reflection, it is me. Therefore, he says, my Prakriti. I'm only explaining what is the meaning of the term my Prakriti. Is that? Yes.
So is there a difference between this my Prakriti and world? Both are ignorance.
No. My Prakriti is Avyakta. Unmanifested. World is manifested. That's the difference. Right. That's where it gets back to that and comes out of it.
So it enters into unmanifest ignorance and
yes.
then manifests again.
Yes. And ignorance, which is unmanifest.
Yes.
When that unmanifested ignorance manifests, that's the world. Then the world will go into unmanifestation, which is called the dissolution. That is going back to what? Prakriti only. So the manifestation, unmanifestation, manifestation, unmanifestation, which is what a layman would call as creation, destruction, creation, destruction, creation, destruction. All this is happening in me only, my presence. Exactly like he gave that example earlier as the space, which gives, accommodates all that is happening with air, etc. See that? I accommodate the whole thing. In that sense, it is. Don't take it as my Prakriti to be like, it is his nature. So out of his nature, the whole thing comes out. Then it gets back into his nature. Then if it gets back to his nature means, which nature? Brahman has a nature. What is the nature of Brahman? No gunas. Infinite. All blissful. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Now what is now are you having Ananda? There's a place called Ananda. That's all. There's a spa. But the fellow who is working there doesn't have any Ananda. Guests have it. The owner is not having Ananda. So we say, Brahman is the substratum on which the Avyakta word, ignorance, expresses, manifests as Vyakta, world, individual. Both. Jiva and Jagat, both are manifestation, the individual and the world. How do you understand that? Go to the basic example of waking dream. Right. All the stuff of the dream exists where? In the waker's mind. Does the dream world have an independent existence? No. Dream world has dependent existence. It cannot have independent existence. It is dependent. It is there. There's no doubt about it. But it's not having independent. So what is the thing, sir? From where the whole thing came? The whole stuff came out of Baker's mind. But does the Baker mind only pertaining to the dream world? No, Baker's mind is totally different. But all the stuff after entering the dream, from the dream when you are analyzing, you will say what? There is a thing called the Baker's mind. Since you are ignorant of that Baker's mind, since you have forgotten that you are the Baker, that ignorance, that forgetfulness is what has caused this dream that you are experiencing. Is what the dream guru will tell. And the dream guru has understood what? He's not a dream man. He is a waker. But he is in the dream world. He is there, but he is not. That's what the difference is. Again, we'll give one more example. Both are there, but you say they are two different things. How? There is a thing. There is a man. Around him, there are 15 policemen. Right? Going. One case, you say he is a thief. He is a criminal. That's why these people are going. Another case, we say he is a VVIP. Protection. If around one fellow is there, means he is a dignitary. Another fellow means criminal. Is it? Police all same police only. It's not the two different policemen. Same policeman. Same guy. Going along with one man, you call that guy as criminal. Another fellow is called as cheating. Take one stand and say if police there around you means always say it is criminal, or you say always it means dignitary. Then bigger the number of police, either you have to be a bigger thief or you got to be a bigger dignitary. Isn't it? Is that security? The people will come with machine gun. Same way, if you are a terrorist, right? Then who will come along with? Again, machine gun fellow will be standing next to you. Around you, will be standing there. He will also come along with. You can't say this and that are same. Similarly, he is also there. Don't think he is exactly like all of us. So, we also interact with Prakriti. God also interacts with Prakriti. But there is a difference. What is the difference? We are under the influence, the clutches of Prakriti. To him, Prakriti is a what? It is beautifying. He says, see, four fellows there around. That's why wherever we go, we take two people with us. Move. Guruji coming, say. No. And it's a maybe Virat would. That's all you have to do. You just have to create, little. I proved it. Not to work in a place. I proved it. It's fellow with one college. I was very close with the management. The dean there is very close to me. He's telling me, always it's not. I said, Remember, man, it's nothing to do with, don't tell these people are intelligent. Nobody has intellect, no buddhi they have. Everything is perceived based on your perception. How you present, that's all. Next week, we'll go, we are next batch, we are planning to have in two different, this one. I said next batch, I will come in the bike. I had a two-wheeler with me at that time. I said, I'll come in my two-wheeler next time. I come there, I'll come with my two-wheeler. And all these boys and girls should see me coming and parking. So allow them, they have to be standing there waiting for me to receive me. So I'll come, they should receive me and go. I said, fine, I'll organize. Following week, I will come with my car. So at that time, I had a bigger car. Padana, smaller car. I had a bigger car. So I come in a bigger car, and as soon as I come in, there should be a driver standing there to take my car to parking and keep other, the two other staffs were there, two boys were there. They were also very close with me. I said, hey, you and this person should be standing there and saying, move, 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 move. Simply say, nobody will be there. Simply say, move, move. And I have to climb the steps. I'll climb the steps and tell the students, hey, move, move. And then I'll enter the lecture hall. As soon as I enter the lecture hall, before I enter the lecture hall, you go first into the lecture hall and ask all the students to stand up. Hey, coming, stand up, stand up. And you see how they listen to that class. Suddenly they think some big man is coming. All what? Natakund. All drama. Perception. How you perceive things. To a samsari, he is under the influence of jiva, what we call a samsara. Samsara doesn't mean married people. Okay. Now, all this, anyone in the world is called as a samsari. Right. Jiva, individual. The individual is under the influence of it. It covers him completely. Whereas Brahman, the pure consciousness or the self, Atman, whatever, God, he says, this is an ornament for me. To you, it's a shackle. To him, it's an ornament. That is why Shiva has snakes as ornament. Weird fellow. Can't you buy some proper thing and put on? Yes, puts around this necklace. Or else he will have even worse than that. If you tell him, why is all this? Change it and come. He will come with what? Skull. Anguli Mala is much better. There, Anguli Mala is a demon like we represent. Here, God himself is like that. Now, obviously, anyone who sees such a God, first reaction will be what? Must be demon only. These guys are worshipping. No? I wouldn't, blame the Westerners. Definitely sympathize with it. But what we don't recognize is what is appearing for us as something that is so scary and so detestable. All that is an ornament for it. What is that? That Maya, that ignorance, which is scary for us, which is binding us, is beautifying. How do you explain it? Impossible to explain. That's what he calls as my prakriti. Fascinating concept. I want to confuse you more. Question is there. So my Prakriti is the cause, the world is effect. Correct. Yeah. Not my Prakriti. Very good. Your Prakriti. Who has asked the question? Okay. Your Prakriti is the cause of your world. Remember. So my Prakriti is the cause of my world. Remember, we don't interact with the world. You don't know a thing called the world. You know only your world. Everyone lives within their world. What defines your world is your Prakriti, which is what we call as your gunas, your qualities. So Prakriti unmanifested, in one angle we will call Prakriti with ignorance, Maya. When that same Prakriti comes as a subtler expression, it is gunas. Grossified form is your personality and your world. So Prakriti is equal to Maya, one stage, then it is Gunas, then Jagat. Like seed, sapling, tree. Just like that. Okay. So he says, O Kaunteya, at the end of Kalpa, all beings enter my Prakriti. And at the beginning of Kalpa, I bring them forth. The soil says, I bring forth the tree. See, the tree grows, it gives fruits, and then the fruit drops, and the seed gets into the soil. Again, what happens there? Another tree grows. Right? And this is what he is explaining in the next verse number 8.
Prakrutim swamavashtavya visujami punah punaha bhutayamimam tutsnam avasham prakute vashan Prakrutim swamavashtavya visujami punah punaha bhutayamimam tutsnam avasham prakute vashan.
Animating my own Prakriti, nature, I bring forth again and again all this multitude of beings, helpless by the force of Prakriti. Helplessly, I bring forth again and again. Because I've told you this. The concept of creation and dissolution is not singular. It's not that God creates the world once and then dissolves it once and finishes. It's not like that here. This keeps happening again and again, is what he says. Helplessly, those things. Prakriti, Swam Ashtabhya. What he means is, animating my own Prakriti, I bring forth again and again. Meaning, he says, I stand as a catalyst. Like the soil stands as a catalyst. In the presence of that, everything happens. But the reactions are not happening in that catalytic agent. Reactions happens between the chemicals only. Same way here. It says, my own Prakriti this unmanifested. This unmanifested is what is referred as, I said that earlier, it's easy. Unmanifested means vasanas, desires, this in the individual level, from the jiva angle, microcosm. The macrocosmic level, we call it as the, that is, what did I say? Kiranic, no, not in that sense. Unmanifested is that Maya and Jagat, the world. What is that? Dream and waking. Mark carefully. Prakriti is deep sleep, vasanas. So Prakriti is the deep sleep, vasanas. Out of that comes manifested world. What is the manifested world? Partial manifestation, full manifestation. But nevertheless, both are manifestations expressed. What is that? Dream, waking. So, don't say the cause of the dream is waking. No, that is only preliminary understanding. The true understanding of dream world is the cause of the dream world is deep sleep, vasanas, which we have seen, in the book Vedanta Treatise. Right? Then we have studied that. So we have to go through the whole analysis again. For those who have not done that, refer the book. Right? There's a chapter, the states of consciousness. It's explained. So this macrocosmic level, total vasanas, total deep sleep. Microcosmic level, individual vasanas, individual deep sleep. Macrocosmic level, total waking, total dream. Microcosmic level, individual waking, individual dream. Now you want to use any words you use. Right? All that put together is my own Prakriti, he says. And this keeps happening again and again. Again and again. It's not that one time job. It is constant work. This whole thing is happening how helplessly, he says. Avashak. Helplessly the whole thing is coming. Why? Because of the pressure of the vasanas, dream and waking happens. You cannot be in deep sleep state 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Not possible. You are sleeping, but it need not be the alarm. On your own, you wake up. Why? You yourself say, I had a sound sleep. Continue, no. Permanently be there, no. Deep sleep. Can you? Then why? What is making you to wake up? What is something from inside? If you observe carefully, something from inside forces you and says, get up now. Open your eyes. You may still be, lying there on the bed only. You're not moved out of bed, but still you are not in that state of deep sleep. That pressurizing is what is referred here as Yavasha. The force, helplessly. Meaning, by the force, by the pressure of your vasanas, you wake up. Desires. Desires is a easier term for you to understand. But technically, what is it, sir? It is vasana. How do you develop that? That is a different equation. That is not the context of this verse. Here he says the equation he gave earlier. Now he is giving the equation of it happens again and again. But don't think it is me doing it. It is because of the force of the vasanas, force of the prakriti. Force of that is making the whole thing happen, not me. So preliminary understanding is waking dream. You go into a technical one, then deep sleep, waking dream. See, that's a difference. It becomes easier. That's why those concepts are very important for us to understand. Verse 9. Yes, once again. Yes, sir. Yes.
What? The other side, so many of the of
Ah,
from this side,
ah,
self-realization. It's merging back into Brahman. Somebody realizes, again goes back to Brahman.
see here, okay. Sir, from the angle of self-realization, what is it if you ask? It is simple recognition of the fact, what? I am not the reflection. I am the original object. That's all. In that example, if you take, there is a reflection and there is an object. We said, no, here, realized soul means what? Realization means what? Self-realization, God realization, moksha, liberation, all that when we say, what is referred here is, it's just a simple recognition of the fact that what is real is only the object. The reflection has no reference at all. I refuse to identify. The problem now is we have assumed ourselves to be the reflection. That's all. Assume the reality. Assume the independent existence of the reflection. Forgetting the fact that I am not the reflection in the mirror. I am the original object. That's all. That's all realization is all about. Nothing mystical. That's why we say enlightenment is not something mystical. It is just a simple recognition that I am the waker, not the dreamer. That's all it is. That's called waking up. Waking up is what? It's just is there. But it's okay. Even though you are having it, you understand what? You still will see that, like you go to that, exhibitions, They have a laughing room. They have, and you go and see that various types of mirrors they'll have. Suddenly you look, you want to lose weight, all you have to do is change the mirror, basically. Get a different mirror. They do it, you know that? You don't know. Next time when you go to the shops to buy clothes, check the mirror. You people will check what? Whether it is double-sided or not. If you see carefully, you will look little slimmer in that. Atadliya, I don't know what you do there. You're supposed to go inside and put on, and you will always find yourself better inside than in your house. Check on. Next time, buy, you go there, put it on and see. You look, why? That mirror is designed like that, so that people will buy more. It is a good tactics for a big businessman. What we don't understand is, I am not that. You have comfortably forgotten. So, all this study, all this is not to gain a fresh knowledge. Remember, it's not that you have to be gaining that knowledge of Brahman. No. You just have to regain. Remember, it's not that. That's why he gives the example of the lost necklace. Lady, fantastic example. Lady calls her husband and panics that the new necklace that you got is missing, lost. Getting a new necklace means what? It is 15 lakhs. To get a 15 lakh necklace, what you have to do? First, you have to earn that 15 lakhs, and then you have to go to that, take that lady on a go. But particularly, that also they fix the dates, Today is Ashtami, Navami, you can't buy. And that shop is facing southeast, you should not buy. 100 more rules they have. All that, and then go to the shop on that day, then buy that, then put it on. So much of work you have to do. Right? Whereas this person got it how? She got it. Sitting at home, she got it. Without doing anything, she got it. How? He just forgot. He just forgot the fact that it's there already. Same way, you have forgotten the fact that you are not the reflection, you are the this. This is all you have to do. For that, we are doing all this. It's simple, sir. I don't know.
Relation to the word is one of which, in relation to self-realization is subject.
No. With reference to self-realization, there is no such thing called non-apprehension or misapprehension. Both don't exist. No non-apprehension, no misapprehension. The misapprehension is the world, Jagat. The non-apprehension is that Prakriti. Ignorance of rope is Prakriti. Right? Out of that, you project a snake, which is the world manifested. World means including you and your world put together. Macrocosm, microcosm put together is what he calls as world. So, non-apprehension building into misapprehension, all this exists only for whom? Someone who is there. That's why I said at the beginning itself. Remember the context. The context is already the person is seeing the snake. There is no discussion possibility for the first two. The one who is not seeing the rope, the one who is not seeing the snake. There's no point talking to him. Another fellow is seeing the rope. Seeing the rope means what? Seeing the rope as the rope. Okay. When you see the rope as the rope, there is no problem. That's called knowledge of the rope. That's called realization. In the other side. Now, when you are not able to see the rope as the rope, which is what is referred as ignorance of the rope. I'm not playing with words, huh? Okay. What is ignorance of the rope? Ignorance of the rope means not recognizing the rope as rope, not registering, not perceiving the rope as rope is called ignorance of rope. Right? That ignorance brings out so many things. One is snake. Another person can say crack on earth, or another person can say it is just the root of a tree. This whatever they say. But in our example, we take snake. Snake means it is just the idea of manifestation. So the manifested world is snake. Then the unmanifest ignorance, because ignorance of rope has no expression, no manifestation. Because ignorance never has any manifestation, isn't it? Ignorance is just a pure ignorance. When that ignorance expresses, so he is speaking after the expression. So he says, this gets back. So we think the snake will get into rope. No, snake will not get into rope. Snake unfolds itself into ignorance of rope. And then again what will happen? That ignorance of rope will project something else. Or again snake. It will come back as snake. Again the snake will go. This snake is waking dream. Ignorance of rope is deep sleep. Vasanas. Prakriti. You get it?
So manifestation is not the problem.
Manifestation is not the real problem. The cause of the manifestation is the unmanifest. Unless you knock off that unmanifest, there is no way that you can. So what is knocking off means? Simply, all that you have to do is what? Recognize the rope as rope. Is it so difficult? You know, all that I am saying is call Ishwaran, Ishwaran. Is it so difficult? Yes. To call rope as rope is not so easy, because you have already caught up with snake. So step one, what you have to do? Develop the courage to say that maybe what I am seeing, what I am convinced, snake could be a rope. If this much you can attain, this is what Swamiji gave me. In this Janma, if you get this, job done. Recognizing rope, we see next Janma. In this Janma, he said, hey, in this Janma, if you can develop that courage to say, yes, the snake that I am seeing could be rope. Small step. That fellow said, no. Yeah. I'm strong. La? One small step is a giant leap to the back. Nothing else. This is far more difficult. See, to courage. Then comes actual recognition of rope as rope. Is it that? But sir, I understand realizing that I am the waker is also incorrect. Since we are not wakers either. It's just a fully manifested state of the vasanas. Correct. You are not the waker in reality. But in the comparison, with reference to the dreamer, waker comparison is like waker comparing himself to realized. That's the comparison, remember. So if you think this is correct, you're right actually. You're not the waker also. But then in the example when we give, we take the waker to be self-realized, dreamer to be waker. So how that waker can understand self-realization, a self-realized, is exactly like how a dreamer can understand waker. That sense correct. Due to the force of Prakriti, the creation takes place. So God has not created the world. Yes, God has not created the world. But without God, world wouldn't have been created. I'm not playing here, please. No, he says simply playing with words, right? I say God because it's like saying the tree comes from the seed only, correct? Therefore, soil has nothing to do with it. No. Without that soil, no possibility of the seed to grow into a tree. Not possible. But at the same time, for the existence of the tree, you cannot make the soil responsible. The cause is that. That's why he says, I am the substratum. That word. That's why it is called dharma. You know that? Called dharma. Dharma means what? It comes from the root called dhril. Means that which supports the whole thing. It supports everything. They are all rumba confusion. That's why he gave ultimate example. No way you can improvise on that. I am not saying that example because I know what will happen to all you people. Because another 15 minutes will switch off. You know, petrol and car. Yes. If you, I don't know how, what amount of thinking must have gone into to get that, that just a drop. Like the titration, they say, the drop, the penny drops, they say. Before that, so much had gone. The ultimate one. Accidents happen because of petrol. Also, you can say saving also happens because, but you will never call this is accident petrol, this is life-saving petrol. There's no such thing called accident petrol, life-saving petrol. There's only petrol. Leaded, unleaded. Yeah. There's only two types of petrol. You don't go to the say no, like that. Says it's exactly like petrol. But it's an easy one to understand. Most, that is what that's a difference between a tuition teacher and school teacher. There's a difference between a tuition teacher and a school teacher. Tuition teacher will train you for what? Exam. School teacher, they don't bother about all that. He goes, our class not tuition teacher class. This one. Real teaching. That's what he gives as an example. There's petrol in car. Like that, this is. The engine is the prakriti. So the performance, all that is happening, all the movements, all that you see, the speed, all that is to do with the engine that is fitted. There's nothing to do with petrol. And the driver who is driving. The driver and the engine, that defines the whole thing, not the petrol. Petrol has no role to play. Same way here. God has no role to play. It is Prakriti. But that Prakriti is also mine. Therefore, he says, I allow. So that you got to remember. But you can't place the responsibility on God. That you need to understand. We'll read in the next class.